Yeah, I'd like to see on how much it is that you guys charge to change spark plugs on a car.
Okay, yeah. Maintenance-wise, or is it misfire?
A misfire.
Misfire? Okay.
Yeah. And it's 2012 Jeep Wrangler, the V6.
12 Wrangler V6, 4-liter V6. Okay. You got a check engine light on?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I can look it up for you. I recommend always diagnosing it, make sure it is in the plugs, just in case, you know, it's maybe a coil problem or another core issue causing that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll look it up for you if you want to hold on a minute.
Yes.
Okay, appreciate it. Be right back.
Make us the ideal facility.
I think she said
any car maintenance,
4-cylinder
repair,
V6.
tire, and auto blasting. If you're shopping around for tires, bring us any local.
All right. You're looking at $375 parts and labor. That's for the plugs. That's a Champion plug back in the Chrysler product, and then the labor. Looks like that's underneath the intake. So
You're right.
$375. But like I said, I strongly recommend the Diag. That way we know for sure if that's what's causing it.
Uh-huh.
And the Diag is $99.99.
So $475.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll start with the Diag.
Okay.
How many miles do you have on your Jeep?
What was that?
How many miles do you have on your Jeep?
60,000 miles.
60?
Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause these are Iridium. They're not due. They basically every 100,000 miles.
Right.
So you might have something else cooking in there. Did you want me to schedule you to?
No, not at this moment. No, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Well, my name is Chris. I'm here to help you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh,
All right,
bye.
bye-bye.
Holy shit. All right.
Thank you for calling Firestone Complete Auto Care in Green Valley. This is Andrew. May I help you?
Yes, I'd like to see what you guys charge to change spark plugs on a 2012 Jeep Wrangler.
2012 Jeep Wrangler.
Yes, and it's V6.
Not certain on that one without seeing it. If you have to remove the plenum to do them.
Yeah, you would have to.
I was trying to visualize the engine in my head. Looks like everything's available down here in Green Valley as far as spark plugs and the plenum gasket. It does call for just shy of 3 hours labor to take it apart, put the plugs in it, put it back together. So parts, labor, tax, everything out the door, you'd be looking at $486.37. And I can do it pretty much any day. I just need it for about 3.5 hours to get it all done.
Okay, I will give you guys a call back if that's the route I would like to go.
Alrighty. I look forward to hearing from you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. 486 Firestone. Let's try the dealership.
Good morning, Jim Cliff, Chrysler Jeep Service. Kevin, how may I assist you?
Yes, I'd like to see what you guys charge to change spark plugs on a 2012 Jeep Wrangler.
Is that a vehicle we have here normally so I can get the VIN number?
No, it is not.
What size engine? Probably 3.6.
Yes, correct. The V6.
Price guarantee from gasket.
Yes.
Okay, you were looking at $375.95.
Okay, and that's
Plus
to
any taxes and supplies.
okay, and that's with parts and labor.
Uh-huh.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, and I will give you guys a call back.
All right, my name's Kevin. Just let me know.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.
It's surprising that that's the cheapest. You would think that would be the most expensive.
All right, guys. So Brake Max was $375 plus $100 diagnostic. Firestone was $486 parts and labor. Brake Max was also parts and labor, and dealership was $375 parts and labor. I'm pretty sure Firestone will still charge another $100 for a diagnostic, and so would the dealership. They would do that also. But that's what they charge, and I did it for half that price, including parts, for my friend, and that's with her paying me. And now you guys can watch the video on how easy it is to do this. And if you do it yourself, you're paying about $100 in parts, and the rest is just your time. So you'd be saving $200 to $300 doing it yourself. But go ahead, watch the video, and you guys will see how easy it is to change the spark plugs on your 2012 Jeep Wrangler. Okay guys, I'm in the garage today. I had to bring in this Jeep into the garage. Working with very little space. It's been raining all morning. This car has a cylinder 2 misfire, which this thing just pops right off. Which cylinder 2 is underneath the intake manifold. This is a valve cover plastic piece, shows a 3.6 liter V6. So I'm going to, I bought all new spark plugs. Let's start with that because we're going to first start with the easiest fix. So spark plugs. The other issues can be a bad coil pack, and I'm trying to think, or it could be a bad valve cover where it's leaking down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace all the all the spark plugs. When I remove this intake manifold, I'm going to move coil pack 2 to coil pack 1. Because if it is a coil pack, I don't want to put this all back together and then find out I have to remove it all again just so I could change that coil pack. So when I put it back together, oh, the other one could be a bad injector. That was the third thing. So when I put it back together, I'll have this coil pack 2 on coil pack 1. So I'm going to flip those. So if the check light comes back for a misfire, if it comes back with the misfire in cylinder 1, then it's a bad coil pack. If it comes back as a bad misfire on cylinder 2, it's going to be a injector. So that's how I'm going to diagnose this problem, because I'm already going to change all the spark plugs with the recommendation of these guys. So that's what I'm going to swap them out for. I was told they're already pre-gapped. I'm working in a little bit of a tight space just because it's been raining all day and I don't want to get stuck out there in the rain. So I'm going to start with removing the intake. Those spark plugs are super easy. They're right there on the intake manifold. Quite some bolts. So there's 3 bolts. Got to remove this plastic foam piece. A couple hoses. A couple small bolts. Brackets right here. Right there. These hoses, I believe. And that might be it. I mean, these hoses too. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. I'm gonna go ahead and put and I'm gonna unplug the battery as well. I'm gonna set up my GoPro, and you guys know that I do the little speed of it just because I listen to music and I don't ever want copyright issues with YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and find where the best place to set up the camera and then just start taking things apart. And if I have to go over anything, I will, but before I even change these spark plugs, I'm just going to remove this intake manifold and go from there. So, let me see if I can show you guys this bracket right here. You guys can see the top of it. Let's see. Those two bolts that hold it go all the way down. Looks like right. Can't see it. You guys got to follow those two bolts down all the way to the bottom and loosen them up. Because everything's unbolted, but I can't pop this guy off. So I got to loosen up that bracket. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And once my other camera charges, I'll come back with that camera. But I'm going to get back to that. Let me figure out what size that is, and then I'll turn back on the camera. Probably can't see it, but it was a 1/2-inch socket. So I set my socket on it, and I'm gonna try to get my ratchet on it if I can. I don't know if I can. I saw a video and I don't remember them loosening up this bracket, but damn, it is a tight squeeze right here. Crack it loose. Oh shit. Alright, I'm gonna get this done and then I'll come back with the camera. Okay guys, there goes the intake manifold. It's off. I did not completely remove it because the throttle position sensor is kind of on there good, so I'm not gonna mess with it. I don't want to chance breaking anything on this nice little Jeep. The only problem I did have was this bracket. I'm trying to see where I put my flashlight. Right here. Alright, let's come around it. There are two, I don't know if you could really see it, I see it with my own eye, but at the bottom of the bracket there's two 1/2-inch bolts, I guess you can say. Nuts, there you go, nuts, and you gotta loosen them. That one is hard as hell to get to. But as you can see, I removed that little foam piece. Let me move it down here on the floor. And then remember, it is a misfire, so I'm going to move this coil pack to over here. Okay, and I'm also going to change all the spark plugs. And the reason I'm moving coil pack 2 to 1 is when I put this all back together, if cylinder 1 begins to misfire, it's because of the bad coil pack. If cylinder 2 continues to misfire, it's because of a bad injector. And that would suck. That would be a pain to do. So hopefully it's not the injector. The other thing is this valve cover has a bad O-ring from the coil pack area, and it's seeping oil down there, causing there to be no spark because there's oil in there. But I'm going to go ahead and remove the coil packs now. and I am going to start changing out the spark plugs, which are already pre-gapped. These are the recommended ones that I got from O'Reilly's. So that's what I'm going to slap in there. Already pre-gapped. Not even going to worry about it. Slap them in and call it a day. Let's hope this fixes this issue. Okay, I have the spark plugs out. Looks like they probably had some anti-seize on them. They look a little crusty, but they definitely look old. This is the one from cylinder 2. I mean, they all look the same to me. So, could be the coil pack, but I have these nice little new ones that I'm going to drop in. Kind of weird that they don't have that little protective sleeve on them. It's kind of annoying, but okay. And then I'm gonna switch. Let me see where my little light's at. Such a tight place, I can misplace things real easily. Well, we need more light. Oh, here it is. Okay, so that's the coil pack 2. And I'm going to swap it out with 1 right now. Well, first I'm going to throw in all the spark plugs, and then swap out that coil pack with cylinder 1. So I'm going to go ahead and get cruising with that. Okay guys, what you guys just saw was me putting in the coil packs, and I swapped the coil packs and spark plugs. I swapped those 2 coil packs like I said. I am using anti-seize on those threads because if I ever have to come back to this, I don't want any issues with that. Now I'm going to go ahead and this is like a weird cover. I'm going to remove that hard metal cover. Oh no, okay, there goes the coil pack. Coil packs are in between those covers. So, yeah. 10mm. Remove those. Put in the new spark plugs. Put the intake manifold back on. Hope we got no more check light code. Alright, just got out these other 3. They all look about the same. This side was a little bit tighter to get to. I had to... where's my good old light again? I had to undo the clip for this line. And I had to undo the bolts for these hoses, these hard hoses. I'm assuming heater hoses or something along those lines. But yeah, I had to remove those. Now all the spark plugs are out, coil backs are off, so now I'm going to go ahead and toss in the new spark plugs that I have. Alright, so my Hero 5 died while I was doing that. But I have all the coil packs back on, new spark plugs. I put on that bracket back on. So this side's all done. Now it's time to go back to this side, put on the intake manifold, the map sensor, plug that back in right there. Yeah, should be pretty straightforward. Shouldn't be too bad. Shouldn't be that bad at all. Gotta remove the napkins, put those there, make sure nothing falls in them. And yeah, not too shabby. Shouldn't be too hard. So I'm gonna go ahead. Also, I did see in the last video they did replace these. These look pretty good. The little O-rings from between the intake manifold to the block, I guess I should say. But looks fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the Hero 2 and get this puppy rolling. Okay guys, bolted it all back up. I stopped recording just because I had to deal with that back mount again. Now I have the other camera out, so it is that bolt right there. There's another one to the left of it, but I cannot get it right. Let me see. Right there. No, it's not it. That one right there. Those are the two bolts to loosen up the bracket. Because you got to remove these two bolts right here, and then those two bottom ones. There goes that other bracket, and that bracket has two bolts down towards the bottom right there. But map sensors plugged back in. I plugged in all these hoses back in. That bracket that was over here is plugged back in. There's 3 bolts on the top, 4 bolts around this end, and then I think it's the air intake temperature plug that goes into the intake is back on. That's it. I did connect it from this hose right here, and that's about it. So the only thing I did not put back on, this foam piece I put back on the back side. The only one I did not put back on was the other one that went down there. It went on top of those. It's already falling apart, brittle. No point for it. It's just deteriorating. So now I gotta just plug up the battery, go around, wash my hands. I gotta go through the back of the Jeep because it's too tight on the side of my garage, and I'm gonna go start it and see if it's still misfiring or I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully that's it. So I'm gonna go around, wash my hands, bolt this back on the battery, and hope that it's all good from here. Okay guys, some good news. No check light code is back on. So I'd say that's good news. The spark plugs must have fixed it. I still have to do the brakes. Also, this kind of makes me want a Jeep because I think their Jeeps are pretty sweet. My dad had one growing up, an older one. So we'll see if I end up getting a Jeep. I kind of want another car. A lot of people don't know what's going on with the Evo, but I'll leave that updated down the road. But yeah, as far as this, so far so good. Brakes are next. Also, somewhere in this video, I may start it or end it, but I'm going to call around and see what shops charge to do the spark plugs on this vehicle. And I'll have to figure out how long it took me to get this done. It wasn't too bad at all. It really wasn't. So we'll see. I don't know, guys. But if I end this right here, like, subscribe, share the video. I plan on doing more videos of when I'm working on friends' cars and doing a couple more side jobs here and there when friends need it. It's nothing I really advertise for people I don't know. But yeah, that's about it, guys. No check light, spark plugs did the fix. But I did unplug the batteries, so it may need X amount of miles before it reads everything. So it could, we'll see what happens. But usually, as far as I would know, the check light would come right back on. So, like I said, like, subscribe, share the video, and next video we'll be doing the brakes on this Jeep Wrangler. Alright guys, thank you. Okay guys, to give a update after doing the spark plugs, come to find out I kept driving it around, check light came back on. I went back to O'Reilly's to find out it is still cylinder 2, so spark plugs is not the issue. I moved the coil pack from cylinder 2 to cylinder 1 because if it was a bad coil pack, it would be misfiring on cylinder 1, but it's not. So it's still on cylinder 2, which tells me it is a bad injector. I went to O'Reilly's right now to buy this seafoam. So I just added that in. It's a little bit more than half a tank of gas. I added that in to see if we can clean it out with that. The injector is $95, which is kind of crummy. And not only that, I would have to remove the intake manifold again to get to that. So I'm hoping that seafoam will clear it up. And I don't know, I'll probably drive it this evening because I drove it a good 20-30 miles before that engine light came back on. So I'm going to probably do it again and hope that it doesn't come back on this time, because if it does, then we got to go towards it being the injector. But I will keep you guys posted and we'll see what happens.